So with a handful of the changes coming with the Midnight expansion, I have been noticing more and more people talking about not having enough gold for some of these new systems because there's been a few changes to some of the pre-existing systems that are just going to cost a good chunk of additional gold that we weren't having to spend on these before. It was actually surprising how many people I've seen say that they've been playing the game for like a decade plus and have never had a large excess of extra gold. So adding in these additional chunks of gold for systems that never had them before is just going to use up a lot of these players' gold. So in this video, I want to go over a very easy method to earning a bunch of purely raw gold that you can do right now before the Midnight expansion is released. And I'm going to do a couple of these videos because there's actually a couple different methods that you can get purely raw gold and get quite a lot of it pretty quickly, especially compared to how much more gold you have to be spending with these new changes. Now, before that, the two main things you're going to have to be spending more gold on in general or gold in different ways. First off being the new transmog system, and the new transmog system is going to require in general more upfront gold cost because as you're trying to buy more and more of the outfit slots, those cost gold, even though you can get like 10 of them for like a couple thousand gold and that's all across your account. But if you're someone that really likes transmogging and you want to get dozens of outfit slots, that'll start to cost you a lot of gold. And then you still have to pay a decent chunk of gold for applying a transmog set into that outfit slot. Now, previously in pre-patch, the cost to actually set these transmogs was much more expensive than it is now. On a max level character right now, it's around 900 gold for a full transmog set added to an outfit slot. So it's not super expensive and it's not even really more expensive than it is right now. It's around the same price as it's been in the entirety of the War Within. And keep in mind, you're transmogging slots now instead of items. So if you're somebody that just wants a few outfit slots and you don't really want to change them a bunch or add tons of new ones, you'll probably be saving a lot of gold because you won't have to be re-transmogging when you upgrade your gear or just change out your gear sets or something. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is actually gear upgrading. Gear upgrading has been pretty heavily changed going into Midnight, but when it pertains to gold, the main change is that Valor Stones, or the equivalent of Dragonflight and the War Within, which had different versions, are now just removed from the game. So now when you upgrade gear, the only thing it requires is crest, and now it also requires a small amount of gold. And by small amount of gold, I mean a very small amount of gold. And depending on what upgrade track it is, it'll cost more or less. So Adventurer track, it's 10 gold per upgrade, all the way up to Myth, that's 50 gold per upgrade. So if you have a full set of Myth gear, and if you're say using just one two-hander, to upgrade every piece of that Myth gear to 6 out of 6 will only cost 3,750 gold. Every single item slot fully upgraded for the most expensive tier is under 4,000 gold. So it's legitimately not a lot of gold at all. People have been trying to call this pay to win, even though this is significantly cheaper than something like transmogging a bunch of alts. And it is also significantly faster to go farm 4,000 gold than it would be to go farm the equivalent amount of Valor Stones to be able to upgrade a full set of Myth gear. So this is going to be very easy to get the gold instead of getting the Valor Stones, but because both of these systems can cost more gold than we're used to, that's the main reason I wanted to do this video and a couple videos going forward. And the gold making method we're going to be going over in this video is going to revolve around weekly objectives. So while this is something that can give you quite a lot of purely raw gold pretty quickly, you can't spam farm this on the same character. Now, most people, or a lot of people that have been playing the game for a while, probably have a ridiculous amount of ult, and you can do this on pretty much any max level ult. Doesn't really matter how geared they are because everything you're doing is not going to require a lot of gear, but you'll not only get a lot of raw gold, and I mean raw gold, this isn't even like grays, this is just purely gold given to you. Outside of being able to get a good amount of that at a baseline, the gold you're getting from this can randomly proc to significantly higher amounts. And that's something that's really important to go over because I don't even think a lot of people know that this system actually exists. So the things we're going to be farming are any of your weeklies, mainly the ones you pick up in Dornegal that reward you with a pinnacle chest, or any of these special operation objectives in the different zones of the War Within. And those objectives are the things that you'll see on your map, and they'll usually be only in a couple zones for that week if they're not in every zone, and it wants you to go complete usually like 3 to 4 world quests, and then it opens up, you go to it and you do an elite objective, and then once you're completed with that, it will reward you another weekly chest. Now for gold purposes, the chests from the special operations and the pinnacle chests are essentially the exact same things, and it's really only those two chest types. Going and doing the open world weekly objectives, like the weekly events, like the theater event or the awakening the machine event, those will give you chests, but those chests don't give you a lot of gold. They give you like 150 gold. Those are the things you want to focus on. You really only want to focus on the pinnacle chests from the weekly quests you get in Dornegal, and then the special operation objectives on your map that will also give you another type of chest. Those are the ones you want to go for. And the main reason those are the only chests you really want to be going for is how much gold they can actually give, and because of a system that they can roll to a much higher amount of gold. Now for an easy way to understand this, at a baseline when you open up these chests, they'll pretty much always give you like 1300 gold or somewhere around that. You can get more than that, like one I opened up recently gave me 1600 gold, but to make it much more simple, just think of the base level of gold you can get is like 1300 gold, but then these chests can randomly proc at much higher gold amounts. So the next proc could be like 3100 gold. That would be the general amount. You can again get a little bit higher than that, like I've gotten like 3500 gold from that. Then it can proc at like 13,000 gold, and again you can get a bit higher than that. I think I've gotten like a 15,000 gold one pretty recently, but then you can get the highest proc of gold, which is around 31,000 gold. And again, you can also get more than that. I think I've gotten like a 32 or 34,000 gold one recently when I've been doing testing for this, but those bands are essentially the different gold procs you can actually get. Most common one's going to be 1300, but the 3100 gold is also pretty common. From my testing, it seems that the 3100 gold one is quite common as well. Not as common as 1300 gold, but still pretty common. The 13,000 gold one is obviously a bit more rare, but you still get a frequently enough. The 31,000 gold one is definitely much more rare, but again, if you just open up a chest and get a 31,000 gold proc for a weekly that probably took you like 10 minutes or less is pretty crazy. Now, just to give you an idea of all of these weekly objectives you could do on one character for the week I'm recording this, you will currently have 3 different weekly quests you can pick up in Dornegal. So you have the one weekly quest where it wants you to go collect 100 discs from like rares, doing world quests, digging up dirt, or defeating the world bosses. If you're trying to do that one as quickly as possible, just go do the world bosses. The world quest to kill the world bosses usually gives a good amount of gold as well, so you can go and do a couple of those and you'll get that weekly done. That'll be your first pinnacle chest. Then you have the other weekly right next to that where it gives you a choice of what you want to do. This week, one of the choices is actually to go do Awakening the Machine, which is the weekly event. I would recommend doing that because it's pretty quick. It's just the small wave mode thing where you go do like 20 waves of really easy to defeat enemies. Now, the reason I recommend doing that is because that will give you another chest. That chest only gives 150 gold, but you also have the 5 chests right next to the guy that sends you into that event that you can open up after you've completed it. You can get like a mount from that, but every single one of those chests gives around 170 gold as well. So if you count in vendoring the items from that chest and looting those chests you can loot once you've completed it, it'll give like 900 to 1,000 additional gold just for that. And then you'll be hitting 2 birds with 1 stone because now you'll get your second pinnacle chest from that weekly objective. And then you can also pick up the weekly quest from Dornegal to go complete 3 delves. Now this one's also pretty quick because you can just do tier 1 delves and get over pretty quick, and that will be your 3 pinnacle chests from Dornegal. Again, all of those are considered to be like the same chest, so the gold procs we just went over can come from all of those chests, but at a minimum they'll give you like 1300 gold. Then you have 3 of these special operations, and for this week specifically when I'm recording this video, the special operations are in Isle of Dorn, Hollowfall, and in Koresh. But again, those change to different zones every week, so just check where those are on that week. And I think at this point in the expansion, there will always be 3 up for every weekly reset. And while we don't have many weekly resets left, you can go do 3 of those, get those 3 additional chests. Those will all count the exact same way as pinnacle chests when it comes to gold. So they'll at a baseline give you that 1300 gold that can proc up to like the 31,000 gold or even higher than that. And you can probably get done with those 6 different objectives in like an hour, maybe a little bit longer, especially if you're a bit lesser geared. But if you open up all of those chests and don't count anything else you've obtained to this point, which you'll be killing enemies when you're doing this because you have to do a bunch of world quests and other objectives. So you'll be looting those for more gold from them. You'll be getting gray items to sell. You'll be doing world quests, which you can focus on world quests that give additional gold, and world quests that give quite a lot of gold right now in the War Within. So you could be getting thousands of additional gold, but only the pure raw gold from these 6 chests you'll be getting at a minimum will be giving you around 7,800 gold, and that's with 0 higher tier procs. Keep in mind, you could get like a 13,000 gold proc and then like a 31,000 gold proc. And I would say it is pretty rare to open up 6 of these weekly chests and not get at least a proc up to like 3,100 gold. And if you get one proc up to 3,100 gold, you're getting much closer to like 10,000 gold. If you get even one higher proc than that, that's 13,000 gold on just that one chest. So there's a very good chance you're getting tens of thousands of gold per character you do this on. Because remember, you can go do this on any of your characters, no matter how geared they are, just if they're max level. And I actually don't remember if you can do this on characters that can go into the War Within zones but aren't max level, because you can do like the campaign skip stuff. But either way, I'm sure most people that have been playing the game for a bit will have a bunch of different alts you can go do this on. And again, it's not going to take you a lot of time. At most, it'll probably be like an hour and a half if you're not used to doing a lot of the stuff. But that's all I want to go over. So thanks for watching.